Am I the asshole for hiding our Wi-Fi router from my roommate? 4 months ago, my boyfriend, 23M, Aiden and I, 22F, moved in with his cousin, 21M, Evan, and his GF, 22F, Aubrey. Things were okay at first, but we quickly realized that Aubrey was kinda crazy. We have tried to communicate many times about things. She refuses to interact with us. Among many other issues that have been omitted for length, first came the dog. My boyfriend and I have 2 cats, whom we were very clear with both of them that they were going to be living with us. About a month ago, Aubrey brought home a full-sized 1-year German Shepherd without telling any of us. We knew from the beginning that our apartment has a 2-pet limit, so we never expected another animal. Aubrey said nothing, didn't come out of her room the rest of the day, just left a note on her door saying the dog was approved as an emotional support animal. The cats are terrified of it, as Aubrey has done little to train or take care of it. The dog often chases the cats, takes food off the counters or from the trash and eats, makes a mess of it, poops, pees on the floor almost daily, and will bite you if you don't give it attention. Lately, she keeps it kennelled nearly all day, only letting it roam at night when I'm asleep, I think. Then she called the police on us last weekend. I was asleep, this was about 1:30 a.m. My boyfriend had a beer or 2 and left a note on Aubrey's door asking her to please clean her dishes. He came back a few minutes later to find the same note on our door, with the words, "Move out," written over his. This sent him over the edge, and he started yelling at her through her door to clean up after herself and stop acting like a child. This woke me up, and I told him to leave it alone and come to bed. By this point, Aubrey screamed she was calling the police. They showed up, talked to both Aubrey and Aiden and I privately, and eventually left, saying no crime had been committed and we should reconsider our living situation. Yesterday, she was in a fury when Aiden and I came home from shopping, unaware there was an issue. Apparently she had told Evan to find out when we were moving out because she wants us gone. The dog was out roaming, and as soon as we were in the door she stomped out and grabbed the dog by its collar screaming at it to get the fuck away from them. She then stomped back to her room, slammed her door, then opened it and screamed we had 30 days to pack our shit and leave or she's calling the police on us again. IL felt uncomfortable being there, so the 3 of us left for a few hours. When we came back, she had changed the Wi-Fi password so none of us could use any of our computers, TVs or phones without data, a hotspot. This is the one bill of ours that's in her name and we all contribute to pay for it. I was furious. So this morning when I woke up and she was still asleep, I took our Wi-Fi router and hid it. If we can't have Wi-Fi, neither can she. I'll put it back when she gives us the new password. Am I the asshole for hiding our Wi-Fi router so she can't use it? Update. The Wi-Fi router has been returned to its original home. Aubrey finally gave in and wrote down the new network name, password. She also left for most of today, and around mid-afternoon we all received a text in our group chat from her sister. I won't go into detail, but the gist of it was that Aubrey is terrified of confrontation, and that, even though we have been continually trying to communicate, it doesn't seem like we've tried that hard. She also mentioned how we are grown adults and that we should take the initiative and talk to her directly. This, needless to say, irritated me to the core, but I managed to type up a cohesive reply essentially saying that 1. I don't think it's entirely her fault, but I do think she was majorly involved in all of this, too. I'm tired of the games, drama, and walking on eggshells around my own home and it benefits nobody, and 3. I am more than willing to talk and come to a resolution. I asked the sister if she was willing to mediate and explained Aubrey's recent behavior was distressing and made me feel unsafe. For those telling me to just move out, I am not in a place financially that I can just break my lease and leave. I am planning on trying to save enough to move to my own place probably when the lease ends, but that also depends on several other factors. To those saying Evan should dump her, I agree, though he does not seem at all interested in what I have to say about it or in this Reddit thread at all. I have tried to show him but he refuses to look. For those saying to call animal control and get the dog rehomed, I am looking into my local resources and plan on speaking to management first about how to proceed. I mainly worry that if I get her dog removed, she will retaliate against my animals and their safety is one of my top priorities. I want to be sure that they will be safe and I don't want to have to displace them for very long should any of this go south. She has been home a few hours but has been hiding in her room the entire time. I overheard her and Evan arguing in the living room about my boyfriend and when we left to spend time in our bedroom, But once I made my presence known and opened the front door to leave, she also got up and left back to her room. So that's all the news I have for now. I will update again if Reddit allows me to. Lol, great petty revenge. Not the asshole. Are all 4 of you on the lease? If so, she can't evict you. But it may be time to start CYA and getting property management involved. Not the asshole. Revenge is best served cold, but now you've stooped down to her level. What does your BF's cousin say? Does he back you up, and is she on the lease with you 3? Hiding the router isn't going to do any good. It's childish and you should be cautious because she could exact revenge on you with a terrible outcome, such as harming or killing your cats, bashing your car, windows. Who knows what this psycho can do? Get out of there ASAP. Not the asshole. I'm worried about you cats. Not the asshole, but I would speak to management about getting out of your lease ASAP. She sounds mentally unstable. Also, although I'm sure you love your cousin and want to support him, you need to remember that ultimately he is not your responsibility. I'd advise him to run for the hills personally. The girl is emotionally abusing him and threatening suicide to make him stay is just horrendous. If it's a shared lease, then you can make a request that she is removed and then take on the extra cost yourself. But I would move, personally. You now have police linked to your address and names. Not the asshole, but you should report her to your landlord and to animal control because I wouldn't be surprised if the dog isn't really a registered ESA. Also, if she's keeping it caged all day long every day, that's wrong and it's no wonder the dog acts out. Not the asshole, but just call support and reset the password. It's yours too. Not the asshole, but headed toward Esh. This is not working out. You guys are bringing out the worst in each other. This is descending into a petty war of attrition and won't end well. Am I the asshole for kid shaming a couple? Update. I haven't had the time to answer, but I've been reading through the comments. It helps to see the support, and I'd like to clarify a few things. 1. I understand that every child behaves differently, and the statement made by my husband was directed to the couple only. Nonetheless, I apologize if I've upset anyone. That was not my intention, and I know that my words can be seen as offensive without further clarification. 2. I'm not complaining about the other child's behavior, but more towards his parents' unwillingness to stop, redirect. For instance, when he bit me, I explained to him in a firm and stern voice why that was not okay. His parents weren't happy because he got really sulky, but I honestly don't care since he had, at that time, bitten his way through a few nannies, a daycare, half of our friend group, there's 20 of us, and even their dog, which is another story. 3. Someone mentioned that I was judgmental cause I don't live with that couple 24/7 to know if they don't discipline. Well, I don't need to live with them to see their Insta stories on the items their kid breaks on the daily basis, or the clips of him screaming his head off at them because he needed to sit down for dinner. 4. Someone else asked if I'm allowing Grace to have risky play, essentially, if I do say yes to her. To make it clear, I only say no when she does something obviously dangerous, e.g., running across the street. Otherwise, I encourage her to explore even if it results in a mistake or an accident, e.g., pouring milk into her bowl. I also work within Val and her husband's boundaries, and never go beyond what they're comfortable with either, e.g., they prefer if I don't let her carry her own plate because she has a tendency to drop it when something else catches her attention. Context. I'm 28 female. Very uncertain with handling kids. Maybe because I've seen parents who flip the fuck out when someone tells their kids no, and how some kids run feral in public places. I don't hate kids, but I'm just very awkward about them. The only kid I'm comfortable handling is my goddaughter Grace, 3. I just fell completely in love with her the first time I met her. Grace's mother Val is a very close friend of mine, and often calls me to help because I live nearby and have a flexible work schedule. Prior to Grace's birth, Val told me that she'd need my help more often since her parents weren't able to travel and her husband had to go back to the office. But she wanted to give me the choice to say no cause she knew I wasn't familiar around kids. I said yes anyway, but made sure to attend some infant classes, learn baby CPR, and sat in on some childcare classes with Val and Dan so I wasn't completely clueless. I constantly communicate with Val on what I can or cannot do, in terms of setting boundaries when Grace acts up, so everyone is on the same page. Issue. My husband and I were talking to a group of friends when the topic of Grace came up. One couple has a kid around Grace's age, but he is a menace. He's bitten me before because I tried to stop him from running out the front door. This couple asked if I'm teaching Grace not to have fun, and when I asked them to clarify, they said that I was so good at saying no they wondered if Grace has ever heard the word yes from me. I was hurt, and asked if they would want their kid to touch a hot pan instead, or get hit by a car when running out the front door. Things their kid has done, because having fun is more important than being safe, right? They seemed flustered when I brought it up, but tried to wave it off as, well, luckily you're not our babysitter. Kid would lose his spark. I just rolled my eyes and laughed, which apparently offended them because they said that it felt like I was kid-shaming them. My husband, he's a child therapist, said, it's not the kid's fault when their parents fail to parent. Which pissed them off even more. Conversation ended on a sour note. But no one has called us Oz. Everyone else has been a victim at one point or another of their kids' behavior. But I've been thinking. I don't have kids, and I don't know how difficult it is to raise one. Maybe they're trying, but some kids are really unmanageable. So maybe I'm the asshole for being rude to them about it? Not the asshole because you were just defending yourself. They were rude in the first place, and you obviously seem like you really want what's best for Grace seeing as you did your research, CPR etc. They probably meant it as a joke, but definitely sounds like they meant it as an underlying dig at you anyway. If they can give it they should be able to take it. Not the asshole. You didn't kid-shame them, you pointed out their neglect. The spark is called curiosity. Some curiosity is nurtured. Some curiosity is not. Why are trees green versus will taking a sharp knife to my skin make me bleed? Not the asshole their kid literally bites people when he doesn't get what he wants, they're not parenting well, and they're generally just not acting well. Not the asshole, if you just straight out called them bad parents or started talking about their kids then yeah you would have been. But they started the conversation by insulting how you handled children and you just replied with the truth. Sometimes it's a hard pill for parents to swallow, but if they can't handle their child that's on them not on you. Not the asshole, I'm a mother of 3, number 4 is still in the oven. And I say no to my children a lot. I agree with your husband. Poor parenting or lack of parenting can shape some really awful kids. My kids are carefree, constantly laughing, and can get mischievous at times but we have clear rules, consequences, and boundaries. I have some friends who while they're good parents are always very active in their parenting but their kids know really quick what they can and cannot do in my home and guess what? They always have a good time. Let that couple be offended. You're a really good friend and godmom it sounds like. Not the asshole. You didn't go looking to shame them, they took a dig at you first. They then had the chance to let it drop or double down and they went all in criticizing you, and you responded. If they choose to go looking for a fight, you are not the asshole for not just being a punching bag. Not the asshole. Some kids due to things out of their control can be unmanageable but in my opinion as a mum to 3, unmanageable kids are usually a symptom caused by parents who don't parent or who find it easier to say yes to stave off a tantrum. Not the asshole they shamed you first. Am I the asshole for refusing to make my son play with the son of my girlfriend's best friend? First off, I would like to apologize for the awful title. I couldn't find a better way to phrase it. I have a 10-month-old son who I love very much. He's very tall, long for his age. He currently wears clothing meant for 2-year-olds. My girlfriend's best friend has a son who is 2.5 and she often gives us hand-me-downs and I couldn't be more appreciative of that. My girlfriend and I both make decent money but saving on baby clothes really helps. My girlfriend recently got a new job which has a really good salary but obviously requires more hours away from home. I love being a dad so started taking less hours at my job to stay home more. About a month ago, her friend would start coming over unannounced with her son for play dates. I asked my girlfriend a few times to be told when her friend was coming over but she feels like she should be able to come by any time day or night. It wasn't really a big deal at first. I think it's important for my son to be around other children since he has no cousins. The issues are mostly due to the fact that even though her son is about 1.5 years older than my son, they are almost the same size. Her son can walk around while my boy is just starting to be able to stand up completely on his own. Her son doesn't realize that he's younger and I know that's not his fault but he is always so rough. My son would play with him for 5 minutes and then start crying because he got pushed down or had a toy thrown at him. I obviously can't discipline someone else's child but it seemed like she didn't care. She never tells her son, no. I told her that her son's behavior had to change or else they wouldn't be allowed to play with each other and that my son is miserable whenever they come over. She blew up at me saying stuff like, "How dare you? Teach your son to stand up for himself, he's fucking 10 months old. She also tried to insinuate that she had just as much right to be in my home and spend time with my son just because she grew up with my girlfriend. After about 5 minutes I told her to get the hell out and to not come back anytime soon. She then spammed my girlfriend while she was working with at least a dozen calls claiming I yelled at her child and harassed her. My girlfriend left work early to come yell at me and she wouldn't listen to anything I had to say. She is a great mother and an amazing partner, and that's why I'm second-guessing my actions. AITA? Sorry for length, formatting, I'm on mobile. Update because I've been too busy to respond to comments. I gave my girlfriend some time to cool off and then asked to speak to her. I explained my side of the story and my thought process of the whole situation. She apologized for the way she acted. She has also told her friend that she is not allowed to our home until she also apologizes. Like I said, my girlfriend wasn't 100% aware of the full situation, and when she received multiple voicemails from her friend, she got upset. I understand where she's coming from and I don't hold a grudge at all. She's taking the next few days off from work and we're just gonna have some quality family time. A lot of you went straight for my wife's throat, but I promise you guys that she loves her family as much as I do. Not the asshole. Jesus, your wife is okay with a 2.5-year-old bullying her child? She's choosing her best friend over her child. Is that really good mother material? Not the asshole, your girlfriend needs to be home if her friend is coming over. How rude to just show up unannounced. Not the asshole. There are huge developmental differences between 10 months and 2.5 years. Your girlfriend is valuing the relationship with her friend over the safety of her own child. At the very least, set boundaries that her friend can only come over when your girlfriend is there. Otherwise, just always have plans, not feeling well, etc. When friend wants to come over without girlfriend there. It's really weird that friend even wants to come over when your girlfriend isn't there. ETA. If girlfriend is accepting her friend's version of events, then I wouldn't put it past the friend to make up shit and tell your girlfriend that you made the moves on her to attempt to break you up. You setting boundaries protects your son and you. Not the asshole for defending your son. Sometimes the size throws people off, but he's only 10 months old and learning the world and how it works. Being bullied by a spoiled brat isn't the best option for your not-so-little one right now. The friend sounds entitled and should probably be kept at a distance. I would sit your girlfriend down and explain everything about why you did what you did. I'm sure she's hearing a completely different story from her friend. Not the asshole, always protect your kid. The older child is just gonna get worse if he is allowed to act this way with no punishment from his mom. Honestly, you may want to reconsider the girlfriend if she cares so little. Not the asshole. You're protecting your child, just as you should. I'm a little surprised that your girlfriend would yell at you and ignore everything you say when you explain it. That's worrisome. Does she not see how her friend's kid treats your kid? Not the asshole. Her son was causing your son anguish and she wasn't listening to you. What else were you supposed to do? I'm hoping that your girlfriend will see sense once she realizes that if you hadn't done this you'd have been choosing to harm your son. Not the asshole. It's not realistic to expect those two to play together. Honestly, 2-year-olds are just kinda rough. I didn't even let mine play with the cat. It's just too young an age to fully understand gentle and fine motor skills aren't really developed enough. It's disturbing that your partner just took the friend at face value without asking you what happened. That's not okay. It wasn't okay for her to ignore your prior request that you get notice before she shows up either. Y'all need to have a long talk. Parenting is so much easier when approached as a team. Ask her to be on your team, because right now she's not. Am I the asshole for snapping back with a hurtful reply when my husband's coworker called me annoying? So my husband was away for 2 weeks on a work trip. It was more of a voluntary training thing really. So I picked him up at the train station when he returned. It was a 32-hour-long journey by train and my husband can't sit up in a moving train for very long without feeling sick, so obviously I was worried, but I was also excited to see him. So when he stepped out of the train I got all excited and gave him an energetic hug and started fussing over him. He had also caught a cold because of train AC. I also have an embarrassing nickname for him which I like to slip out in public just to embarrass him because he looks cute when he's embarrassed. Now it has to be noted that nobody else's significant other came to pick them up. One of his coworkers said, "Annoying shit like this is why I am single," and some of them snickered. I hit him back with the, "No, it's probably because nobody likes you." Everyone laughed. Now I have some excuses. We got married just before quarantine. We've been practically glued to each other since quarantine hit. I lost my job and we decided to not look for another one right now so I could work on my mental health a little, plus he rarely has to take trips like this. It was difficult and I missed him terribly for 2 weeks. Especially when I had to take his place as his cat's slave. Also my ex always hated when I got excited by something and kept telling me to sober up, so that guy's comment got really annoying. Now I know I hurt him with that. Like you could see it in his eyes. I struck a nerve with that one. So I've been feeling guilty but also kind of justified. I know it's wrong to make fun of people for not being in a relationship and the fact that everyone laughed makes me feel worse. Husband has asked me to never stop being annoying, quoting his coworker, and to never not be excited to see him, but he might just have a slight bias, so I want some objective opinion. Edit. So I've got a lot of responses. I guess, for you judgments. I read most of them. Sorry I stopped replying because I fell asleep. Anyways, I had a talk with husband when he came back. I've been called clingy by some exes before and it took some time for me to rid of the "am I being too clingy?" anxiety, and the responses kinda brought it back. Husband assured me it wasn't an issue. He said he liked it and it was not being clingy. He reassured me he enjoyed it when I get all giddy and miss him and worry about, but he did say I could ease down on the nickname usage, especially around coworkers. So yeah, I am not using it in public again. Then we cuddled and fell asleep and I woke up to so many upvotes and responses. Despite so many not the asshole responses, I did read some you are the asshole responses with rather good points, so I'm going to apologize to the guy regardless. I'll catch hin the next time I pick my husband up from work. Thank you for taking your time to read my post. I see some people are curious, so the nickname was Pumpkin. If you're about to comment about me embarrassing my husband, please save your breath. Not the asshole. Don't dish it out if you can't take it. Not the asshole. He insulted you first, and wanted to bring your mood down. Your retaliation was completely warranted. Not the asshole. You were actually somewhat mild in your response. Maybe there are other reasons you are an incel. Anyone who finds love and affection annoying has more serious problems than just being single. Seek professional help. I'm going with not the asshole. Some people are disagreeing based on your behavior to your husband. Here's my reasoning. 1. The question about who is the asshole is in regards to your response, not your initial actions. 2. Your husband is the only one whose opinion matters on how you choose to greet him, including nicknames, and he seems to be fine with it. I would add that I would confirm that he is. My husband is pretty stoic and so doesn't always speak up when things upset him. Not to say yours is the same, just throwing that out there. 3. The coworker was being deliberately cruel trying to get a laugh. You just did it better than he did. It's not exactly turning the other cheek, but it is a valuable lesson on treating others the way you'd like to be treated. Not the asshole. Nah, stuff him, he asked for it. Not the asshole for snapping back. I would ask your husband if it bothers him when you call him pet names in public though. That seems really obnoxious, especially because you point out that it seems to embarrass him. Not the asshole. The guy's a jerk and shouldn't dish it out if he can't take it. Not the asshole, but I also have an embarrassing nickname for him which I like to slip out in public just to embarrass him because he looks cute when he's embarrassed. Check if your husband is actually okay with this.